Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our special Sunday night live broadcast. Tonight, we're going to have a little fun. I did something that I don't normally do, but at the last minute, late last week, something happened with one of my favorite students that warranted. First, I was thinking, we'll announce it during the week. And then I started to put all of the information together. I realized that this information is critically important to all of you. So I kind of slid it in here. And so tonight we're going to be covering two subjects, but I have to warn you that this information can have an explosive effect on the size of your business and lift it to levels that most people in your business only dream about. I mean, this really can have explosive growth on your business. One of the best kept secrets in network marketing, something that is never talked about, is the fact that there is a huge pool of unhappy network marketers that are constantly looking for another business. And when you know network marketing's biggest secret and how to apply them to your daily business building activity, you'll rise to the top of your business faster. Unfortunately, not very many people talk about it. So I want to start out tonight by reminding you of some motivational quotes. One from President Theodore Roosevelt: believe you can, and you're halfway there. So for those of you that are going to listen to this information, believe you can. Believe you can do this. And you're halfway there, because what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight, anybody can do. Don't waste time waiting for inspiration. Begin, and inspiration will follow you. That's a Earl Nightingale quote. Average people learn from their mistakes. Smart people learn from the mistakes of others, from other people's mistakes. And another quote from Eleanor Roosevelt: learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. Now, the smartest top earners in your business are using LinkedIn. They're using it differently than most people. They use LinkedIn's latest new features to enroll customers and reps in less time, build large teams faster, and build massive organizations all around the world. I just want to remind everybody that on Tuesday night, we have our final session of boot camp, how to close more sales in less time. My 4-step formula works on every social network. 4 C's equal big bucks. And it's behind the success of top earning network and affiliate marketers across the board. Tonight, we're going to show you, I want to teach you exactly how Francisco Rodriguez enrolled a leader with 600,000 reps 2 days ago. And I'm going to give you 6 things that deliver immediate results on LinkedIn and Facebook. Let me start out first by saying this. It's not what works in network marketing, it's what duplicates. What I'm going to be sharing with you will enable you to bring somebody into your business on Monday, especially when we talk about these 6 actions. And by Wednesday, they can be bringing in their friends. By Friday, they can be bringing in their friends. You don't need a capture page. You don't need a blog. You don't need a website. You don't need advertising. You don't need any of that stuff. The concept is this. When it comes to talking about Francisco, you can connect with anyone at any level in a company. And it's all about relationships, okay? It's all about relationships. Create a solid relationship with someone way, way down the chain. And that person can lead you to a top earner. Now, relationships aren't created overnight. And the success stories I'm going to share with you did not happen overnight. So the notion that you're going to jump on LinkedIn or Facebook, connect with an unhappy network marketer, and bada bing, bada boom, show them your business, it doesn't work that way. And so while you are prospecting and recruiting and trying to build your business and you're networking with people, anytime you run across someone that's in a network marketing business, you have things in common with them, they're clearly not a candidate for your business today. But as one professional to another, hooking up and networking, learning a little bit more about them, letting them learn a little bit more about you, will pay you big dividends all right? So a network marketing leader down there can lead you to an unhappy network marketing leader there. And it doesn't matter where in the chain they come from. It doesn't matter. But it takes a little time. You got to have patience. Nourish the relationships with people with daily posting, frequent likes, shares, genuine flattering comments, and sincere personal messages. And let that relationship blossom, let it grow. You never know when something's going to happen inside a company. Before we talk about Francisco, I want to share Cynthia's story. Cynthia added 1,400 people to her business in 60 days by connecting with an unhappy network marketer who joined her business when his company changed the comp plan. Now, initially, they connected because she owned the horse. She loved horses. He owned the horse. And, you know, it's a social network. They talked to each other, learned a little bit more about each other. She was passionate about her business. He was passionate about his. And then one day, out of the blue, the guy she was talking to always figured that one day she's going to get into my business when she's ready to make a change. Instead, what happened was his company changed the comp plan. His check shrank. So he joined her business. And he made it possible to enroll his top upline leader, who had been with the company for 5 years and had a team of 150,000 people. Cynthia's team would grow to 3,000 people in 90 days, and everyone in the company would call her the Internet Queen. Cynthia lived in Palm City, Florida. Roger lived in Jacksonville. Again, different companies. The connecting part was the fact that both of them were horse lovers. I was her upline. And back in the AOL days, whenever I would attend a networking event, because AOL didn't allow you to post pictures, I'd wear a cowboy hat so people could recognize, pick me out of the crowd. So Roger joined Cindy's business, and as her upline, I welcomed him to the business. And I said to him, listen, if you're not happy, suppose other people aren't happy. Because nobody's happy. So I said, well, give me the name and phone number of the highest person in your company that you're connected to. And I'll call him, and if I can get him in the business, he's going to go under you. And that's exactly what happened. Roger was connected to Terry. Roger was an area coordinator in ACN. Terry was a regional vice president. When Terry came into our business, he started bringing people to our company events. The first one he came to, he brought 70 people, 70 leaders who would in turn help the business grow. The important thing to remember here was that Roger and Cindy had been talking for months. For months. Well, on Thursday, I got this message on my phone from Francisco. Well, I now have 72,000 motivated team members thanks to your scripts. The exciting news is the whale with a team of 600,000 people is joining my business this month. I'm living the network marketing dream thanks to you. And that was on Thursday, and Friday, he signed up in Francisco's business. So let's review what happened with Francisco. Now, what worked for Francisco on AOL years ago works even better today because you have direct, easy access to more people. When I started working with Francisco 22 years ago, he was building a prepaid legal business and applying my strategies and scripts. He was generating a couple of $1,000s a month, and he was happy. He was happy. He'd keep in touch with me from time to time. And then in 2020, June, he sends me this message. Wanted to thank you for the 20 plus years you've mentored me. Came back recently to work with the company. In my first week, I sponsored 18 people. Your system from the AOL days, I applied on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. It's all the same. So how does he sponsor 18 people in 1 week? Well, it's 3 a day, Monday through Saturday. And when you have a lot of connections and you've been communicating with them on a regular basis, using the project launch script or using the happy birthday script to start a conversation with someone, a conversation that will result in the person opening up, telling you what their issues and problems were, enabling him to sign them up in the business. 18 people. 3 every day, Monday through Saturday. So I can't believe it's been 21 years. But I guess it's 23 now. Well, he comes back in October. I recruited 20 people last week. Same thing. It's all about having conversations with people. And now that he's really on fire with the business he's in, now he's going after whales. People in network marketing that he'd approached, that he had been connected to over the years. And when you bring a top earner, a whale into your business grows much faster because they bring people with them. So in November, Francisco enrolled 2 whales. Send me this message. I wanted to share with you, I'm in the process of enrolling 2 whales, both combined are making over $1 million a year in their business. I couldn't have done it without your mentorship. So how did he do it? If you look at his profile, Francisco talks about how he is a social media expert, social media trainer. And I'm actually thrilled. I'm going to unmute him. And I was hoping he was going to show up. Hey, Guy.
Good evening, Max. How are you?
I am terrific. I know how you are.
Of course.
You know, I was going through what I did was I kind of went back and looked at all of the messages you've been sending me, keeping me up to date on your progress. And it really shows your consistency, you know, what you're doing. And it's not just about, you know, bringing people into the business. There's more to it than that, but it starts with that. And so for you to get, for anybody to get the attention of an unhappy network marketer that's looking for another company, the one thing that you've got going for you, and all of you do, for those of you that are students, especially, you know, those of you that have been through my coaching program, you know things about social media, you know, more than 95% of the social media experts out there. And when you can demonstrate your network marketing expertise in a way that will produce immediate results for someone that hasn't got a clue as to how it works. And you'll find that most of the top earners that have been in network marketing for years, they don't know very much, you know, about social media. And so when you can give somebody a little tip, and we have one of the scripts in the scripts book talks about that, you know, it pays big dividends. Of course, today, Facebook and LinkedIn, you have a lot more information about the other person. You got pictures. And so at the end, you bring these 2 whales into your business. And, you know, they may have been a little tentative initially. Now, how did you get to these 2?
Pretty much just building a rapport with them and just staying in touch with them and talking back and forth.
It wasn't like you just went on, found these 2 guys and started a conversation.
Right.
You'd been connected to them for a while.
Right.
And you know, that's so important. A little interaction every once in a while. But once they came into your business, these 2 guys brought in 3 more whales.
They sure did.
Right. And of course, when you're connected to people, their connections are become in your network. So that expands your circle of influence, your circle of knowledge, and a lot of whales are connected to other whales. And so, Francisco, how many people would you say, how many Facebook friends did you have? Or how many Facebook friends do you have now? I think, did I just lose them? Did he just? Looks like he got knocked off. So, again, it's all about, oh, no, here he is.
Sorry about that. I lost connection.
So, how many Facebook friends do you have?
How many Facebook friends I have?
Yeah.
We're in the thousands.
Right. But these have been accumulated over, over the years. So
Yeah.
these two guys bring in 3 more whales.
Correct.
And, they're bringing in their team members. And all you really have to do, because they know how to build a business, is put them in the right direction, show them the tools and everything that's available, and let them run with it. And of course, you provide the Facebook support, the LinkedIn support, and you let these guys shine. And so you ended up the year with 200 people, 5 whales. And what happened in 2021 was predictable. Okay, it was predictable, and I really appreciated the fact that you kept me in the loop to show me what was happening. So 2 months later, you're going from 5 whales to 10 whales. Everybody's bringing in their teams. Everybody's excited because what you show them how to do works, and it works fast. The strategies and the script helped everybody, and people just don't believe how fast it goes. And of course, the more you do it, the higher your level of confidence rose. Every time you get to talk to an unhappy network marketer, because you can position yourself as a leader that they want to work with. And, I told Francisco when we were doing this that I wasn't going to get into the details of what he was doing. I gave him a year, and then I gave him another 6 months, because hey, listen, he's got this thing working, and some of the strategies we're going to be sharing in boot camp. Some of the strategies we're going to be sharing in our retreat with more details next Friday and Saturday. But some of the real finer points, I'm gonna reserve that for my coaching students. Hey, you got it. But the bottom line is, the more success you have, it creates your own personal enthusiasm. His business is on fire, so he's even more motivated than ever before, to engage, because that's what it's all about. So March, 10 whales. And then he got back to me in June, because he's busy. You're working with experienced network marketers. Jim Rohn used to describe it as, herding cats. But in June, he's up to 2,000 people and 16 whales. And everybody loves him because he's teaching them what I taught him. I mean, so the bottom line is, he's helping people. All of you that are in boot camp, you're all heading down the same road. The one thing that I really wanted to emphasize is that it wasn't like he just popped on, made an initial connection with someone, discovered they were an unhappy network marketer, and boom, sign them up in the business. That can be done, especially when you're talking to someone that clearly you know they're looking for an opportunity. The challenge that you face is when it becomes public knowledge that a company is in trouble and you try reaching out to these people. If it's common knowledge that the company's in trouble, they're going to be getting hundreds of connection requests from people that are going to be trying to do that. That's why it's so important to have connections with these people, people that share, that you have something in common with. I mean, that's the common denominator here. So June, he's up to 2,000 people. And then I don't hear from him over the summer, and he comes back in September. Now he's up to 6,000 people because the business grows organically. If people are happy, they're buying the products are working for them, and you're giving them something simple to do, it grows. It grows. I mean, you took a vacation in August, you went to Vegas, and yet you come back in September, now you're up to 6,000 people. And you go from 16 whales to 20. I mean, how did that make you feel?
Great. Well, it goes back to what you said. When these whales are in a good position, good companies, you want to still make a connection because you never know when something happens to their company, similar to what you and I were discussing before. And you're pretty much right there in the front, getting the first crack to speaking to them and talking to them about your company. And they'll listen to you faster because you built a relationship when their company was in the good times.
And of course, the other thing, now when you're talking to these people, did you find that, did most of them have any level of, Facebook or LinkedIn expertise, or were they pretty much clueless?
Clueless.
Right. And so you could almost tell, but let me speed this up a little bit. So this was September. So I know I sound like a broken record, but you are without a doubt the best network marketing coach in the business. And I mean, it's been 23 years. Who would have thought 23 years ago that you'd end up where you are right now?
I still have all my trainings from 23 years ago. My wife showed me this big book that she laminated for me with all the case studies, all the scripts that you gave me, that you coached me 20-something years ago. And I looked over it today, exactly what you talk about right now. The only thing that's changed is the social engines. Went from AOL to LinkedIn, Facebook, MySpace, and Instagram, or any other social media. But everything's still the same. You got to build rapport. You got to know the people, find out who they are, have a great profile. Still the same.
Exactly. So that was September. Now we roll into December. And about December 12th, you were up to 14,000 people, 30 whales. And, we had predicted you'd have 20,000 people in the business. You ended up with 17,000. I mean, I figured, your group was growing by about 3,000 a day, which just shows what is possible for all of you. It's all about organic growth. So you ended up 17,000 people. And the proof is in the pudding, because 30 days later, those 17,000 people became 38,000. And now you're living the network marketing dream. I mean, because you're watching it right in front of your eyes. And the part that really becomes important is because at this point, people need a game plan. You have to provide people with a roadmap, give people something to do, and everybody loves him, not me. And the thing is that everybody that he works with, every leader, looks to him as their social media expert, their social media guru. So, end of January, 38,000 people. By mid-June, 52,000 people. And this is where it really got exciting, because I just got off the phone with Major Whale, who had a disagreement with the company owners and master distributor over money. Now, the man has been in his business for well over 20 years. And for him, now, the interesting part about this was Francisco had no connection to this person at all. Somebody else that he'd been talking to for a number of years, somebody else that he had a really good relationship with, came back and, in a conversation, let him know that, there's a little politicking, there's a little upheaval going on in our company. And of course, they looked at Francisco. I mean, Francisco's got has been a connection. I think you said you'd been connected to them for a couple of years, and then boom, something's going on. So you asked them for the contact information for the top guy. They gave it to you, and you reached out to them. Now, how receptive was he to talking to you, Francisco?
Well, it was very receptive, very warm phone call, because the individual gave me the phone number, made sure that they edified me, and they made sure that Francisco is a really good person. He's not gonna try to be pushy, try to pitch you. He just wanted to speak to you, see what's going on, blah blah blah, and just have a conversation. And that's what we did. We have a nice, great conversation. We were just exchanging just information from each other, my background, his background, how we knew the individual who introduced us. First conversation went very well, which I was really shocked. Then the second and third conversations is where we started taking off with business strategies, business ideas. And then that's where I connected my uplines with this whale and started taking our time, not being pushy, bringing them the facts, bringing them all the information that the whale wanted. And we just started going back and forth.
So a whale is going to do his due. I mean, somebody that's been in the company for more than 20 years. In fact, I think you mentioned that he had a whole organization. He had assistants. I mean, 200,000 people communicating with everybody. You've got assistants. You've got all kinds of people that are supporting the organization. And yet you, Francisco, bring to the table a piece of knowledge. Because I remember when I recruited my first big whale, my whale did not have to sign up with me. Once I showed him the business, he could have signed up with anybody. He could have gone directly to the company. Same thing with Francisco's whale. He's talking to Francisco's upline. He's talking to other leaders in the company. An experienced network marketer is going to sign up with someone, not necessarily the first person that shows them the business. It's a business decision. This isn't one of those things where somebody shows you the products, so you start taking the products. If you're going to build a business, you want to be connected to people that can help you, that can help your team. And so between the edification that Francisco's contacts were given to this guy, and just the knowledge that Francisco's displaying during conversations, pointing things out, it was clear. I mean, the man still had to look over the company. He had to familiarize himself, not just with the products, but with the compensation plan. I mean, there's a lot of strategy planning going on, because this is a big deal. For somebody to leave one company and go to another one, it's like going through a divorce. And it can be very taxing. It can be troubling, challenging, but it can also be very exciting, not just for the leader, but for everybody else, all of his leaders, especially when you consider, the justification for making the change. So we're not naming companies or anything, but so what was it that really made this guy been with the company for 20 years? What was the driving force that put him in the position he's in?
I would say maybe the system he put together, his team, loyalty, and building, good friendships. He talks about network marketing as building community, where everyone wins. And when he opened his doors of how his system works, I've never seen so many staff members. It was almost like he was running a huge corporation. And you had every person in charge of something. You had a person in charge of marketing. You had a person in charge of strategizing with customers or no customers. You had a person who was in charge of website designing. I mean, it was just going on and on and on. One person was in charge of scripts. So I was just amazed how he had all that. And I just kept digging deep. I'm like, what is all this? And he said, I can't be everywhere. That's why I have my staff. So my team can have the best of the best than anything provided.
And so when the owner of the company and the master distributor want to start monkeying around with numbers, compensation plan, and everything else, he has the best interest of his leaders, his team, his organization. And if the company wants to do something, which is exactly what happened with Cynthia and Terry, the company wants to do something that is not in the best interest of your organization and your people, a leader will rebel. will say, no, this kind of thing happens all the time. And nobody talks about it, obviously, because, can you imagine being with a company for over 20 years and then one day, owner of the company decides he wants to do something that is not in the best interest of the field? And it's not unique. It happened. But in Francisco's case, the relationship he has developed, the credibility he's established, because as sophisticated as the person is, as organized as he is, doesn't have a clue as to how Facebook and LinkedIn can really work. And what Francisco is going to do is he's going to empower him with this information so that when the leaders come over first, and then they're going to start bringing over their leaders. And we're going to talk a little bit about those 6 things that anybody can do. You jump over to Facebook, you jump over to LinkedIn, and there are things that will immediately trigger reactions and responses from the warm market connections that everybody has on Facebook and LinkedIn. So here, talking to this major whale, and it's not just Francisco. Now he's got his uplines talking to him. Everybody is giving him the information, make him feel comfortable with the whole thing. And then, on Friday, boom, he's in. He's in. And I got to tell
well, Max, you forgot the one important thing when I was calling you. Like, you heard my excitement, and I was calling you because I couldn't believe it. I mean, you couldn't even. I wish I would have recorded this when I called you, like how excited I was because you came this up. I just couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I thought it was going to be done by maybe the end of the year or next year, but this was really fast because, yeah, I'm still shocked right now. I am still shocked.
Well, my friend, the ride is the ride's going to accelerate because in fact, I would venture to say the next 90 days are going to blow you away. Now you're ready for it. You're ready for it to the extent that you know what you need to do. You've got the knowledge and the confidence to do it. What you're not ready for is the volume. Okay. And that's not a bad place to be. Okay.
No, I'm not ready for the volume.
That's the part that really it's exciting. And how does your wife feel about all of this?
I want to say 20 something years ago when we first met you, she had a really good vibe about you, and she saw how I was still going back, and she said, not only this works in network marketing, but this works in everything. You want to get to know someone, you want to find like a product, or want to get to know someone. Look, I'll give you an example. First time parents, 11 years ago, we didn't know what we're doing. She did a search on someone who had first time moms, and she started interacting. And she used some of her scripts, in her own ways. And she keeps telling me, this works. This works for anything. And it sure does. We constantly prove it all over again. And she still she's still shocked because we came from, and a couple $1,000s a month that took care of all our bills, our rent, car payment, utilities, everything. And we were working part-time for us to use our part-time checks to go out to the bars, have no worries because residual income was taking care of it till now, where my wife and I said, wow, now we can put more money away, invest it and do other things. And yeah, she's thinking ahead that kids' college would be paid for. And now the more we make, the kids' house will be paid for, and just building wealth for them in the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I promised, Francisco, that I wasn't really going to get into, there's one piece to this that has positioned him to achieve this level of success. And it's all about being able to put yourself out there as, it's one of the things we have all of you putting in your, your headlines, you're a social media coach, social media expert, strategist, trainer, whatever it is. But what adds an extra level to giving it the credibility is when he tells people that he's being mentored by the top guy in the industry that knows more about social media than anybody, and he's been mentored by me for years. He's my protege, and he really is. And all of you that have gone through my boot camps that really mastered this, you're all my proteges. And how quickly you learn it to the point where you can share it, where you can teach it with credibility, because you know more than the people that you're talking to know. And every one of you has the potential to talk to people that you know in advance could be great prospects for your business. But again, I really want to emphasize the importance, and this is something that we never really went into any detail about, was the fact that connecting with people in other companies just to expand your knowledge of the industry, to develop relationships with people that at the moment are not going to get in your business. They don't have that need. But you never know what's going to happen in the future. So the more you have in common with someone, the more similarities you have, the easier it is to talk to these people. And, that's kind of where Francisco is. And so here we are, middle of August. And by August, we got September, October, November, December. By the end of the year, Francisco, you're going to be, if you think you're living the dream now, just wait until the end of the year. Just wait until the end of the year, because you let your leader, you be his, you just have to be there, help him, facilitate, do all the things that you can possibly do to help him. He has made the decision that you really were looking for, which was, hey, he signed up with you. And everything that follows is going to be the result of the fact that he likes you, he trusts you, he respects you, and you bring something to the table that that he needs. So I'm thrilled for for what you've accomplished. In our upcoming retreat next Friday and Saturday, the timing for this couldn't have been better, because we're going to be when we start talking about why leaders leave, the reason that he's leaving is something that we've kind of glossed over. We've talked about how network marketing companies go out of business, they change comp plans, they lose products. But what do you do in a situation, and it's not unique either, where the owner of the company and the master distributor decide, you know what, let's get rid of this guy. If we can lose Bill, well, we just saved ourselves. We're paying him $2 million a year. That was the thing about ACN. They would routinely change their comp plan, and they had broken it down to a science. So if we change the comp plan, we're going to lose the top earners, and we may lose some of the leaders. We're not going to lose many customers, because people are not aware of these things. They like the products. They're going to keep buying the products. So their calculation was, okay, we save all this money, and yes, sales may go down a little bit, but other leaders are going to rise. And so there's turmoil. And this is something that goes on in some companies where you have owners that are greedy and are not looking at the big picture. And in fact, we have another story with Renata Lundberg, who was $1 million earner in her company for 17 years. Always knew that the owners of the company were not true blue ethical people. But she liked the product, so she did it anyway. And then one day it just came back and bit her. She was out of the business for 6 months, but when she came back in, she applied everything she knew. So there's a continual storm as companies go out of business, companies fail to launch, they make unpopular changes. So Renata was in Univera. Youngevity did the same thing. After years, they've got the customers. They pull out of the business model, so they don't have to pay the leaders anymore. Customers are going to still continue to buy. Mary Kay pulls out of Australia, New Zealand, leaving tens of thousands of reps without a business. Now, when they pulled out, you couldn't get the products there anymore. So 17 years, $1 million earner, helped a number of her team make millions of dollars, and then boom, it's gone. Now, I'm not saying this to be negative. You just have to be aware that if this ever happens to you, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It only took her 6 months to become a top earner in her new company, LifeVantage. There is a continual movement of network marketing leaders moving from one company to another as things change. Things change. And you know what I'm really thankful for is that, Francisco has basically stayed in touch with me, because in many cases, I never hear about this. I had one student who made millions of dollars in the business, and 10 years later, she came back. We hooked up again, and she told me, "Hey, man, thanks to you, I've got an organization of 35,000 people. I've never made more money in my life like this. I am living the dream." So being able to watch Francisco go through this process, and I'm looking forward to the same thing with the number of you that are participating in this session. I'm just looking at some of my newer students. You're all heading down the same road. You're all learning something that will ultimately get you exactly where you want to go. So don't think for a minute, don't doubt that it's going to happen, because it's going to happen. It may not happen as fast as you want it to happen, but it's going to happen. Now, if you haven't registered yet for my 2-day top earner retreat, because it's my anniversary, I set up a special promotion code. Great deal. So you can go to maxsteingart.com/retreat and use that promo code, great deal, to participate for $99, which is an outrageous discount. I normally, we do the retreat, I limit it to 100 people. This year I've expanded it to 150, 200 people. And because of Francisco's success and some of the things that are happening, I've just thrown open the doors. I told my staff, anybody that wants to come, $99. Everything is going to be recorded. If you're not available to get there, all of the sessions are going to be recorded. Now, you all had an opportunity when you registered for this to download our profile checklist. And a lot of people don't realize that when you're on Facebook and LinkedIn, you're invisible. People can't see you. If people can't see you, then they can't see what you're doing. They have no clue. If you didn't get it, go to my website, maxsteingart.com/ just maxsteingart.com. The pop-up, get the profile checklist. It's my gift. And your profile can only help you if people can see it. I'm going to look at some of your profiles, and some of you are going to be amazed that nobody can see it. The visible profile will help you stand out for your competition, attract prospects to you on a daily basis. But you have to adjust your settings so people can see who you are. When your profile is set, it will optimize your profile for maximum visibility so everybody can find you, help you make valuable connections, and avoid making the common LinkedIn and Facebook mistakes that act like kryptonite. 12 steps for maximum profile visibility, increase engagement, and immediate results. Now, these 12 steps will result in 19 actions that will enable you to start conversations with your prospects when they respond to any one of your actions, conversations that will result in new enrollments. So there are 6 things that you can do that will deliver immediate results. First, you have to adjust your settings. One of the fastest actions that you could take is change your picture. Change your picture. And then step back and watch what happens. The other thing is to change your birthday. You can do it on Facebook or LinkedIn. Changing your picture on LinkedIn does not have the same effect as it does on Facebook. Change your birthday will trigger birthday notices on LinkedIn and Facebook, giving you an opportunity to start conversations about that. Change a business anniversary to trigger notifications. or create a new business to trigger notifications, wish someone a happy birthday or wish someone a happy holiday. The results that you're going to get, mind-boggling. Absolute mind-boggling. So you're all heading down the same road. You know, I've got examples of folks. Let me just get past this. Rhonda Kyer, one of her team members, enrolled somebody from another company who's making $500,000. Will Zanders was the number 6 rep at his company. Now he's number 2. By Thanksgiving, he's going to be number 1. After our first coaching session, we opened up his settings. He made a couple of posts, and he was the number 1 recruiter globally. About 2 weeks later, he sent me, I made 2 posts, generated dozens of easy conversations, generated a dozen sales. I don't show you these to impress you. I show these to you to impress upon you what you can be doing, what members of your team can be doing. Now, so go to maxleinart.com/retreat. If there's anybody here that is interested in my coaching program, I got my wife to agree to let me expand the number of people that I work with one-on-one. And I'm going to be adding 4 more people to my schedule. So if there's anybody here that's interested in my coaching program, put your phone number, put coaching in the chat window. And if we have any former coaching students that are interested in extended coaching, we have a special promotion for former coaching students as well. So just put coaching in the chat window with your phone number. One of my staff members will reach out to you. On Tuesday night, we have closing, and on Friday and Saturday, this will be probably the biggest retreat I've ever put on. It's also going to be the most educational, because we've got all kinds of new strategies, and we're going to be demonstrating a lot of the things that, now that we've got a success story to follow, I'm going to share it a little bit more information about what Francisco did to make it happen. So until next time, best of luck in building your business. I hope to see all of you that are registered for boot camp. On Tuesday, we have also opened up reservations for our September boot camp. So until next time,